Happy New Year's, everyone. This is going to be a long video by my standards, so I'm going to get right into the video. Not much to say here since it's a nearly forceless kiddie ride, but I enjoyed it. It's a fine family coaster for kids, but it isn't anything particularly special. If you have extra time and you want the credit, I guess you could decide to ride it, but I wouldn't prioritize it, especially considering you're a short walk away from Steel Vengeance. The worst ride at Cedar Point. Yeah, it's a family ride, but it's just too boring even for family standards. It's also quite rough, and when you're in the part of the park with the two best coasters at the park, most people won't have any reason to ride it. This one's fine, I guess, but on a ride with the same model as Copperhead Strike, which I've heard great reviews about, you would think it would be much better than it ended up being. Not much to say here. Its launches aren't great and it doesn't have many interesting elements. I think that Disney is very afraid of having a intense roller coaster. You know, their most intense thing is Guardians, which is more on that family thrill level, in my opinion. But yeah, that's about all there is to say about this one. The only reason this is higher than Slinky is because I believe it has far better theming than Slinky Dog. A large amount of it feels like a dark ride, which is usually a bad thing, but considering that dark rides are Disney's specialty, it actually helps us ride out a lot. If you go into this expecting a Velocicoaster, you will be disappointed. At the end of the day, it's a pretty good family ride. Wait times on this could be brutal, though. This ride is unreliable. Not in the sense that it has lots of downtime, but rather that it is unreliable in its ride experience. You can get a ride with almost no spinning, or one that spins the entire way through. It's all luck of the draw. My best ride on it might place at 18 or so, but my worst ride on it would probably place at 23, so I'm averaging it out here. This is one of the rides I've made a video on, so I'll just give the cliff notes here. Good launch, okay intersection, beautiful scenery. That's all you really need to know. If you're interested in a more in-depth review, you can check out my video, which might be in the card if I remember to add it. This has some really good restraints, which allow for some scary ejector. I remember riding it with my dad and seeing him look back to make sure my little brother was still in the train after a particularly strong pop, which proves furthermore how intense this ride is. But it isn't perfect. It feels really pretty bland, all things considered. Its pacing isn't the greatest and it doesn't have a large array of elements. It feels like it's just trying to crawl to the next chain lift. This is a really fun ride. There's some killer airtime in the back, especially the final drop before the brake run. And I love racing rides like this. Definitely a fun ride that can be experienced by younger riders. I might be a little biased because this was the first ride I rode on the day I became an enthusiast, but it's still an incredibly good ride. I know some of you assumed I just didn't ride Corkscrew, but no, I actually really enjoy it. Despite it being rough, it gives you sustained airtime all the way through in the back. It's definitely not the best aero looper in the world. You guys have to stop hating on this ride. It's not that bad. This entire ride feels like you're shooting through space, and I love it. It's filled with HUD choppers, and it's hard not to duck during the ride. I've heard there's some decent airtime here, but I didn't experience it on my 3 rides. Good airtime, pretty rough. That's all there is to say. I really hope that Cedar Point gets a better Woody because they are really lacking in that right now. Blue Streak isn't that bad, but it could definitely be better. So that's what I'm hopeful is their new for 2027 coaster. New for 2026, we'll see. I really like the suspended model, so I enjoyed Iron Dragon. It's pretty whippy on the final break run and has one of my favorite coaster memories when I rode it with my mom. Also, sometimes the lift hill and Iron Dragon duels with Ruru's Lift Hill, which I find funny. I don't hear enough people talking about how good the night rides are on this thing. I always hear things about the Beast, and while I haven't experienced the Beast night ride, I'm sure it's something like this. Going through the woods and over the water while it's dark out is amazing. I really recommend this as it has a great night ride. You should try it. First coaster battle winner on this list. Feels like the entire ride is building up to the double dip, which is incredible. But the rest of the ride really just feels like filler. Good filler, but filler nonetheless. However, this beautiful double dip makes up for everything wrong with Jackrabbit. Truly a great wooden roller coaster. This has some really good drops and is very fun while racing. My only nitpicks are that it's kind of rough and has some pretty boring turnarounds, but it's nice to be able to high-five other people in the opposing train. This one also has some of my favorite coaster riding memories. Really good drops into the ravine and insane laterals. This is my number one wooden roller coaster right now. The laterals on this are amazing. It feels like you're crushing the person you're sitting next to, and it's awesome. The launch here is beautiful, along with the top hat, and zero-G roll is incredibly graceful and gives good hang time. The drop off the mid-course is quite forceful, and the corkscrew is great as well, but after this, the ride essentially dies. There are a couple of bunny hills, but it's barely anything, and the ride's finale really brings it down. It still makes my top 10, though. This ride honestly feels like a bigger version of Skyrocket. I love its graceful inversions and powerful moment. It's not super intense, but its first drop and keyhole inversions are awesome parts of the ride. This is a beautiful ride, not just in its on-ride theming, but in the atmosphere it brings to Animal Kingdom in general. It's the perfect centerpiece to Asia. It also has some very good drops, and of course it's Giant Yeti, which is actually a completely different structure from the mountain and the roller coaster track, which really shows how huge this animatronic is. It's sad that it doesn't work. Oh boy, is this ride intense. Its vertical loop and cobra roll are violent, and its whoopee transitions are incredibly forceful. It's probably the most intense ride I've done yet, and is absolutely worthy of taking my number 7 spot. I've heard great things about the other B&M inverts, so I'm very excited to ride the better version of this model. This is a great ride. I thoroughly enjoy it. This roller coaster is incredible. Flying through its layout with the insane pacing, along with the beautiful theming and juicy backwards launch, this ride is easily the best coaster at Disney. I love everything about this ride. From the launch to the brake run, this is one of the craziest experiences you'll get at the Disney park. Now we're in the big hitters. This ride gives excellent floater and has an amazing first drop. When you drive into Cedar Point and see it on the skyline, it will make you nostalgic even if you hate roller coasters. Honestly, Millie feels like a speed machine from start to finish, but feels pretty tame force ride, I suppose. I still love it for its first drop and how much of an icon it is, but it is not Intamin's best venture at the park. Magnum is iconic. It's rough, and it's packed full of airtime. Its first half seems pretty bland at first, but once you get into its finale, if you love airtime, you'll love this ride. Going over these triangle-shaped hills will throw you out of your seat. When me and my brother got backseat rides on this, it felt like we were in danger of falling out. This ride is amazing. The second drop into the ravine feels taller than Millie. Its bunny hills are brutally intense, and everything about it feels perfect. Morgan did an amazing job converting this old, rough Aero Looper into the best roller coaster at the park. If you want to hear more, you can check my YouTube video on it. It's really old and sucks, but I think I put what I need to say into words very well. It's pretty outdated because it was way before my Phantom's Revenge night ride on it, so, you know, you could go check that out if you want, I guess. This coaster is incredible. Its first drop is among the best at the park, and its top hat gives some amazing airtime. Top hat outer bank combination back to back is insanity, but it immediately outshines itself with the zero-G roll. And crazy airtime at these weird angles and then being plunged down upside down is a crazy moment. Jumping to the mid-course, it really doesn't seem to slow the ride down a lot, but instead gives you a moment to breathe before experiencing an amazing drop off the mid-course into the second half, where you experience the insane RMC bunny hills and inversions. Going in and out of the structure, which is truly breathtaking. Feels like your hands will be chopped off if you dare put them up in these mountains. This is Intimate's finest creation. It's an incredibly well-rounded experience mixing whips and airtime. Its first drop doesn't look like much, but it's easily one of the best of the park. Its whips are insane. It makes you feel like you're getting teleported to the other side of the track, and it's easily one of the best qualities of the ride. The ejector here is insanity. Some of the strongest airtime I've ever experienced. The twisted horseshoe roll isn't anything special, but it isn't a bad inversion either. Going into the tunnel for the amazing second launch is crazy, and it feels like you're being shot out of a cannon when you go through it. The S-curve is of course disappointing considering what could have been, but the Stangle dives on this ride are insane and give it an amazing finale. Going over more ejector airtime moments until finally reaching the brake run. It's not hard to see why Maverick is my #1 roller coaster I have ever ridden. Thanks for watching. This has been a great first year as an enthusiast, and I'm excited to visit more parks in the future. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos from me in 2025. 2024 has been a great year, and certainly a transitioning period from older rides to newer rides, considering how many roller coasters were removed. I don't know how many of you guys noticed the jump in audio quality, but my brother's got me an amazing microphone to record these videos for Christmas, so I will be using that for the rest of my videos, for the time being. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, all of that. I hope to see you guys in the new year when I will be posting new videos. That's about it.